Hello and welcome back to my stream. I am trying to learn how to make a roguelike by using this roguelike tutorial in Rust. Here we go. This is the URL for the tutorial, and we are currently on there we go, a very blinky menu system there. We've gotten through all the way down to saving and loading, which is not really about playing the game, but it's an important part of development, right? So we're going to figure this out. Last time what we did was we got the menu working so we can hit escape from our game. We can hit begin new game, although it goes right back to where we were. Right? If I hit begin new game again, it's still there. So we still have to get to this point where we can load games and create new games and stuff like that. And I think that's what we're going to get into now, right? So we've gotten that part done. So the next step is to look at, let's see, this part here. So now the scaffolding is in place. It's time to actually save something. Let's start simple to get a feel for Surdy. In the tick function, we extend the save system to dump a JSON representation of the map to the console. All right. So in our save game state here, right here, we'll say let data equals surdy JSON to string self ECS fetch map. So we're just, for now, I guess we're just getting the map, not worrying about the other parts of the game. And then println. Okay, so this is a println. This is not going to work on the browser version. So we're going to have to build this for, we're going to have to build this here and just run it here on the metal, so to speak. And then we have the new run state is load game. Okay, so that hasn't changed. So let's see if we can do that. So we're going to have to do a cargo run release. And it has to rebuild everything we didn't build yesterday. Oh yeah, that's right. One of the things I wanted to do was to upgrade, because right now if we look in a cargo toml file, you see we're still running 2018, but a couple weeks ago they came out with 2021 edition. So it'd be nice to go through the steps to upgrade that. Let's get this working though. So we have a problem here, and we don't have serialize on this. Oh, right. I built it without even looking forward to see what I needed to do. So if we look at map, right? In our map, we have to add derive default. Not sure why we need default. Serialize, deserialize, and clone. Okay. And then we need to decorate the tile content the same, this tile type the same way. We already have copy and clone. We just need to add serialize and deserialize. That's hard to type. And then in rect, okay, because we have rect inside here. I guess entity already has those. We haven't looked at rect since like the first few entries. This hasn't changed in forever. Derive partial equal. Do we need that? I'm going to leave that one out just to see. Copy, clone, serialize, because we didn't need it. Maybe it's needed for serialization, but we didn't need it here for serialization, so I'm going to guess we don't need it there. Let's see if this builds. Does not. Oh, because I didn't add this line here. Okay. So let's add this line. Actually, We're going to have to add it to the rect as well, right? And we're going to need to add it to the map, right? Those are the only two files I changed. Oh, and game state. Oh, but game state is just calling JSON, serialization. Yeah, we'll have to extern. I thought we got rid of extern crate. Huh. Okay, let me see if it builds. And then we have to add that. We have to add that. What are we missing here now? The trait serialize is not implemented for entity. All right, well, it's going to be hard to serialize things that include entities if we cannot serialize the entity. This is an interesting conundrum. Did I miss something here? So we extend that. We add extern crate serde to the top of main rs. This will compile because we need to tell map to serialize itself. So we add the serialize and deserialize derives. We've decorated tile content with directives to not... Oh, yeah, I did miss this. Okay, there we go. Because we don't have... It doesn't have it for entity, so let's pull up my map. Source lib map. So I did miss this here. So we have to say serde skip serializing and deserializing. Okay. This prevents us from needing to store the entities, and since the data is rebuilt every frame, it doesn't matter. Okay. Good. Does this run? That looks promising. All right, and up here on my other screen, which you can't see, let me spin this over, drag this over. Now if I hit escape, it should have, yes, and it did, dump the entire map. Wow. False, true, false, true, false, false, true, 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 false. That's a lot of data. You don't want to do that every day. Wall, floor, wall, floor. Look at that. Okay, so there's tiles. So we should have tiles, rooms, which is effective rects, width and height somewhere. And then all this false true are the reveal tiles, visible tiles, and blocked. And here we are. Here's rooms. Right, these are all the rooms. There's the width and the height, and then we have the revealed tiles, which is a bunch of booleans. And then somewhere halfway through, I thought I would catch it, but I didn't catch it. It switches over to visible tiles and then blocked. Okay, let's kill that. I'm not going to be running that for a while. Okay. When you hit escape, it will dump a huge blob of JSON data to the console. That's the game map. All right, so we've gotten to that. I don't want to check that in because that's kind of a useless thing. Now that we've seen how useful serde is, we should start to use it for the game itself. This is harder than one might expect because of how specs handles entity structures. Their ID number is purely synthetic with no guarantee that you'll get the same one next time. Also, you may not want to save everything, so specs introduces the concept of markers to help with this. It winds up being a bit more of a mouthful than it really needs to be. I'm going to just check something over here because I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, it winds up being a bit more of a mouthful, but in it we end up with a powerful system. Okay. Sorry, my stream chat window is not behaving properly, so I'm just trying to work on that off the side there. Okay. Introducing markers. First of all, in main, RS will tell Rust we'll need to make use of the marker functionality. use specs save load simple marker allocator. Okay. I think that's in my game state instead, right? Let me just see over here. What I need to do to make sure this works. Right, so if we use this specs save load, but I put it in game state, use specs save load simple marker allocator, right? Oops. With a capital A. And then in components, we'll add a marker type called serialize me. Okay. Why is that going in components? Is this going to be a component? Pub struct serialize me. And then we have to register that. Okay. Source main. Oh, I do need to pull it out of game state. Okay, so source lib game state. We do put it over here, and then we gs ecs register this simple marker serialize me, right? And then we'll insert a new simple marker allocator. Okay. Let's do that here. Gs ecs insert simple marker allocator as me new. Okay. And then finally in spawners, we're going to tell each entity builder to include the marker. So I see this here. So that's what we have to add for each entity builder. Okay. Source lib spawner. So every place we do a build, let's just look for the build, and before the build we'll say marked : simple marker serialize me, like that. So this is for the monsters, this is for the health potion, magic missile scroll, fireball scroll, confusion scroll, and then we wrap around. Okay, so all of those are marked. The convert save load derive macro. Okay. The entity class itself isn't directly serializable. It's actually a reference to an identity in a special structure called a slot map. So in order to save and load entity classes, it becomes necessary to convert these synthetic identities to unique ID numbers. Fortunately, Specs provides a derived macro called convert save load for this purpose. It works for most components, but not for all. It's pretty easy to serialize a type that doesn't have an entity in it, but it does have data. Mark it with derived component convert save load clone. So we'll go through all the simple component types. In components RS, for example, here's position, derived component, convert save load clone. Okay, source lib components. So for all of these guys, we're going to add convert save load and clone, right? like this. Everything that's a component. Combat stats is a component. Block style is a component. We've created a lot of components over the years, huh? Oops. Okay, so that's those. So what this is saying is that structure is a component, right? Convert save load is adding serialize and deserialize, both extra conversion for any entity classes it encounters. And then clone is saying this structure can be copied in memory from one point to the other. Okay, clone is part of Rust, but these two are part of specs. When you have a component with no data, the convert save load macro doesn't work. Okay, fortunately, these don't require any additional conversion, so you can fall back to the SERDI syntax. All right, so I'm going to have to let me copy those, and then we'll go all the convert save loads, and anything that doesn't have data in it, like this guy, let's just change to that. And this guy, that guy, and the player. Player doesn't have any data, and monsters don't have any data. Okay. Whew. So actually saving something. The code for loading and saving gets large, so we moved it into a save load system. Then include a mod save load system, blah, 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 and replace blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we'll create a new file called save load system. System.rs. And okay. For now, I guess we will just do this, copying the macro until you feel ready to run Rust's macro system. Here's our save game. Okay, so we have this serialize individually macro. We have a save game function that we're going to call, right? And that save game function is down here, and I can see it's using the macro there. And then we should be able to cargo run this game and create a savegame.json. Okay, so here's the savegame.json. All right. Let's see if this works. So first we have to insert this macro rules. Serialize individually. I'm getting better at typing the word serialize. I'm not that familiar with Rust's macro syntax, but it looks like we're getting an ECS expression followed by a serialization expression followed by a data expression. Type ty, oops, comma star, and then we have an arrow. Okay, and we're doing something here. Serialize components, no error. Simple marker, serialize me, serialize. So I think we're gonna have to import these guys, right? It didn't say what to import in the save load system, but I'm sure we're gonna have to. When I say import, I mean use the use keyword. ECS read storage, type. Data.0 ampersand $ data.1 mutable serializer. Close that, unwrap, and maybe the star means do it any number of times. And then we close our brace, semicolon, and close the macro. All right. I mean, this looks like it's just creating a serialized components call for each entry in its list, right? So I think the way it works is we get an ECS, we get a serializer, and then we get data, and then we get a list, that's what the star means, of types. So that's what I'm looking at here. We have ECS, we have a serializer, we have data, and then we have a bunch of types. So that maps to that. So that makes sense. All right, so let's do this. Pub function Savegame ECS, mutable reference to our world, create helper. Not sure what the helper does. Let map copy ECS get mutable super map unwrap clone. Let save helper is equal to ECS I create. So we're creating a new entity in order to do the save with serialization helper map copy. And copy the map. Here's our marker, marked simple marker serialize me. So are we serializing the helper? I'm not sure how the helper works. Actually, serialize. So here's our data. ECS entities and ECS read storage simple marker serialize me. So creating a tuple of the entities, but we're not running join on it like we do with the other things. Then let writer is equal to file create savegame.json unwrap serializer JSON serializer new writer. Right? So we created a file and we passed it into the serializer, and now we're going to call this macro serialize individually ECS serializer, the data tuple, and then a list of all of our component structs. And I'm just going to copy paste those. I'm not going to type those all in. And then clean up. ECS delete entity save helper expect crash on cleanup. All right. So we created an entity here. We serialize everything, including this guy, and then we delete it. Because this gets serialized there. And I'm sure that cargo format's going to mess everything up on me. But, oops. So I think we're going to have to import a bunch of things here, or use a bunch of things, because I don't think this is going to build. Right? This says just cargo run this. And I think we need to do more, because what's this no error thing? And then the simple marker and serialize me have to come from somewhere, right? I'm going to say use create : star. And this is not going to build. Cargo build release. Yeah. All right. So starting with, wow, that was a lot of. Yeah, okay, so we don't even have the convert save load macro, right? So that's got to come from somewhere. Where does that come from? I'm going to pull up the docs here. Did I build the docs? I did not. Let me build the docs. Cargo doc. Oh, that's going to take a little while. All right. So while we're sitting here, let's look to see what we talk about. Convert, save, load. We have to include it. Specs provides a derived macro. Yeah, my stuff won't compile, but that's okay. So file, users, GHUS, documents, dev, RT, target, something. Doc, yeah, okay. And then Yeah, we don't have mine to start with, but we can go to, there's no bracket. Is there RLTK? We got nothing. All right, so I'll just pick something, and then search all crates for convert, save, load. It's not. I thought it would have been in specs. We don't have specs here. Why don't we have the specs? Oh, I spelt it wrong, first of all. No, that doesn't help. That's crate num integer. And yeah, this has all crates, but where's... Oh, maybe it didn't build the spec stuff because my stuff doesn't build. That's annoying. Okay, let me see if we can pull up on crates.io. Specs. You should be able to look at the docs for specs. And do they have convert, save, load? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So it's in specs, save, load, convert, save, load. So let me put that in my mod. Use specs, save, load, convert, save, load. And then we also had what? The simple marker. Right? Yeah, let me put these here as well. And then we're also going to have to add the serialize and deserialize, but that's in components. So let's see how far this gets. I don't think we got that much further. Serialize me is not found in this scope, and this is in spawner. So I added that to components, didn't I? I added it to components, and I said pub struct. So how is that? Oh, because this needs to have it individual. Serialize me. Okay. This is going to be an interesting stream of just debugging the compilation errors. Unused imports. Okay, here's simple marker, not found in the scope. So where does simple marker come from again? Save load. Okay. I'm going to pipe this into less here so I can at least look at the first error. Convert, save, load. Cannot find in this scope. But I thought I added it to components. Oh, I didn't. Use specs, save load, convert, save load. And then we're going to have to add serialize and deserialize, right? Which I put where? Did I put it in the map? I did. So I'm going to put it down here instead. Because this does use crate star. So that should get us everything. So let's try this again. Still no convert, save, load. Didn't I just... Yeah, it's right here. Maybe it's in convert, save, load. Let me take a look here. It's a trait. Specs, save, load, convert, save, load, and marker. What am I missing? I did add the SERDI stuff to specs, right? I am... I'm at a bit of a loss here because I'm not sure why this is not building. Because I'm definitely including convert save load. I'm not including the no error thing. But I don't think I'm even building... Yeah, there it is. No error. Specs error, no error. Spec save load, convert save load error. But, oh, it may be because it's a... I'm just looking in specs, right? There's also specs derive. Maybe there's a convert save load in here as well that we need for the... Yeah. So maybe we need to include that as well. Use specs. Oh, there's a specs derive component. I hit F1 by accident. That window pops up. Convert save load. Like that. Well, we're getting further. So now we're missing serialize and deserialize. Okay. So that comes from Serdi. Oh, I have those right here. Was I looking in the wrong file? Oh, in map. Okay. Source libmap.rs. Yeah, okay. So, oh, I didn't re-export them. That's why. Okay. So let's just put them up here. That's good, right? And now we're missing convert save load, not found in the scope. What? What? Oh, could not find trait marker in this scope. Okay. What does that mean? Does that mean we have to add marker as a trait? Just as I'm totally stabbing in the dark here. Could not find type no. Okay, so that worked. So now we're down to this no error. And that came from specs error, no error, right? If I remember from what we were looking at before. We were looking at specs. There it is. Specs here. And no error. Specs error, no error, right? Okay. Use specs error, no error. Right? Okay. This is... They seem to have left out a few things with the changes here. Okay, so we're not using those as part of mod, so I have them just in the components, so I can pull those out. That's just a warning, unused import warning. And then we have no method name marked, found for struct entity builder. So that's a different one. I thought we had marked as part of... Oh, maybe I have to include the prelude or something? I'm not including the prelude. Source lib save load system use specs prelude star. Nope. It was the word marked, right? Yeah, marked colon simple marker serialize me. What would that mean if we can't find that? marker. Let's take a look at our specs crate again, and then say marker. Oh, entity data marker. The marker and the entity was mapped to. And what's this save load marker? Oh, that's the trait. So do I need to... I don't need to write code, right? Maybe I just need to import it as part of the save load system. Nope. Right, we have this, and we have specs save load marker. Again, wild stab in the dark here. Unused import. Now, you can't just use it. Marked. Any marks? Entity marker. Marker builder. Add a code marker to the entity. Oh. Oh. Okay, marked builder. Okay. Let's try that. I don't see how just using it. Oh. So that was the answer there. We had to use this, even though that's so weird though. I don't understand how Rust is working behind the scenes, that putting a use on that automatically adds the trait. I don't know why that worked. But these we should be able to fix, right? Because main is missing the simple marker and simple marker allocator. And then we'll clean up mod rs to remove what we're not using. Apparently we are using simple marker, right? It wasn't complaining about that. Let's just do a build here, because it's only 3 errors now. Yeah, we are using simple marker. Somewhere. Right? It seems weird to add this here, so let's remove it from here and see where it actually is used, and we'll just add it to the thing that was using it. Oh, so now we're down here. No simple marker in the root. So in spawner, that's what we needed to do. Source lib spawner. Instead of pulling it out of here, we'll just say simple marker here. Okay. Does this build? Nope. What we got wrong now? So we're close. We're close. We're a lot further along than we were before. So this is not found in the scope in main, so we'll have to add simple marker to that. And then simple marker. Okay, so that's just the main. All right. Source main. And we just need to add simple marker and simple marker allocator. use specs save load simple marker and simple marker allocator. Right? Let's build that. Oh, look at that. Let's see if we can run it. So right now, it's supposed, if we hit escape, it should save a savegame.json file, right? So if I run this, it blows up. So this means we didn't register this as a resource, but I thought we did. So let's just double check that. I did a simple marker serialize me. Oh, simple marker allocator. Is that what it was? Did I just misread that when we did the register? No. So maybe we need both. Let's just change it to a simple marker allocator and see what happens. The trait specs component is not implemented for simple marker allocator tutorial serialize me. Oh, am I doing this wrong? Tried to fetch resource of type this. So this is what the resource we're inserting. This is the registration for the... Okay. Okay, I think I know what might be going on is that we don't insert this until the end. So let's insert it at the beginning before we do anything. Okay, let's try that. Oh, it's running. Okay, so let's move our screen over here. I'll hit escape. So it should have dumped now the Oh, we still have it printing out. I forgot to change something. Convert save load derive macro. Oh, here we go. Now we're going to actually call the save load system. Game state, right? So here, instead of doing a println, we're going to call, instead of both those lines, save load system, save game, mutt self ECS. And we're going to have to import the save load system. Use create. Oh, let's add it to our library. libmod. Right? Y. Save load. This should run. Nope, of course not. Everything was working fine. Okay, so unexpected end of macro invocation. When calling this macro, missing tokens to macro in macro arguments. Okay, so I typed it in wrong. Serialization helper is not found in the scope. Nope, definitely not in the spec save load system. Okay, so we're going to have to figure that out. Oh, is that something I created? Let's see. Nope. Okay, so that's something that comes out of somewhere. Right, serialization helper. So what the hell is the serialization helper? Is that something I also missed here? Copy, paste. Oh. Okay. We start by creating a new component type serialization helper that stores the copy of the map. Okay, so that's something we got to add to components. That should be in the thing, right? Pub struct, and let's take a look at it. Oh, we can look at it right here. it contains a map. Serialization Helper. Don't let me paste. Copy, paste there. And then it contains a map, pub map. Map, I guess. So that's something that's missing from the doc, right? And then we have the same thing with the marked. Unused imports breaks prelude. Oh, file. We have to add a file. Well, at least we know where that comes from. And simple marker, we know where that comes from, right? We don't have to import it from spawner. That's something that comes from the spec save load. So let's put that in our save load system, right? That has to be there, and then we're importing create star, so that should get us our serialization helper and our serialize me. Oh, and then the other one was file, right? So that comes out of standard FS, if I remember correctly. Let's build that. Oops, I meant to pipe that through less. But at least it's less than a page. Okay, so we still have this issue here. Map is not in scope for boy. So we have to import map. Should I put map in the library? Or should I put map? It's not a component. So, but it is a pub struct. So what we can do is we can add it to components, right? We can just say use create map, right? Hopefully that'll fix this guy here. Oh no, I can just say create map. Okay. That makes it easier. Well, shorter. Create map. Okay. And then I still have a bug in this macro. So that maps to that, that maps to that, that maps to that. There's something I'm missing. Something it doesn't like about what I'm doing here. Let's just double check that I got this all right. ECS expert, comma, Sarah expert, comma, data expert, comma, type, colon, ty, comma, star. Converts to $open, serialize components, no error, comma, simple marker, serialize, ampersand, ECS read storage type in brackets, comma, close paren, comma, data.0, data.1, mute sir, close, unwrap, semicolon, close star, semicolon, close. And what's the error? When calling this macro, missing tokens in macro arguments. Oh, maybe because there's a comma at the end. Maybe it doesn't like that. One place in Rust where you're not supposed to put in an extra comma. Build. No, that wasn't it. Oh, maybe it was it, because now it's complaining about this no error. All right. And I thought I saw that before. No error. Yeah, specs error, no error. Okay, let's import that. that. And then we're not using specs prelude star. So let's get rid of that. Unless we are using it now that we fixed the no error thing. Sometimes that happens. Serialize components not found in the scope. Okay, we're down to one mistake. Its error originates in the macro serialize individually. Okay, let's go back to here and serialize components. What is serialize components? Is that something that's also in specs? It is. Okay, so that needs to be imported too. That comes out of save load. Wow, okay, it actually built. That's exciting. Now let's run it. All right, and once again, we're going to have to drag it over from this screen to this screen. I'll hit escape, and it died. How did it die? Thread main panicked. It tried to fetch resources of masked storage serialization helper from world, but the resource does not exist. Really? Okay. Why is that happening? This one's baffling. Okay. Masked storage. Spec storage, masked storage. Do I have to insert that as a resource? Or is that something I did wrong here when I created the entity? Right? Let's double check that. ECS create entity with serialization helper and a copy of the map. Marked with a simple marker, serialize me and build. Well, that's all that. Try to fetch resources of type mask storage, but why would it be doing that? I mean, this is the helper. Do I have to do something special to it? Or is it just... I mean, it's a, oh, maybe it's a component, so it needs to be registered in main. Wow, this chapter has a lot left out of it, right? If that's the case, let's grab this. JS ECS register : that. Let's rebuild. Rerun. Drag this over here. Hit escape. Oh, it didn't crash that time. And it didn't die, so let me kill it. And there's savegame.json. Wow. Marker components. XY, XY, invisible tiles. And now it's not a bunch of booleans and stuff. It's all XYs. So these are all like points. Wall, floor. Do we have orcs? Nope. I guess we don't put the name of the thing in there. And then there's a bunch of false true. There's blocked. Right? That's it. We could dump it into a JSON pretty printer. But that's big. It's 128K of save game data. Wow. Okay, so that took a lot, didn't it? Of trying to figure out how to get this to work. And there seems to be a bunch missing from the tutorial, but we figured it out, right? We're smart. We can do this. We create a new component type serialization helper. It stores a copy of the map. Yep. Creates a new entity and gives it the new component. Right? With a copy of the map, the clone command makes a deep copy. This is needed so we won't need to serialize the map separately. We enter a block to avoid borrow checker issues. We set data to be a tuple containing the entity store and read storage for simple marker. Right, so everything that has a simple marker is going to get serialized. We'll open a file called savegame.json. JSON serializer from Serti. We call serialize individually macro for all of the types. So we give it the ECS, the serializer, the data, and then all the types that we want to serialize individually, which is what happens here. So this generates basically, this macro generates for each one of these types, position, renderable, player, viewshed, and so on. It creates this call to serialize components, : no error, comma, simple marker, serialize me, : serialize. So each one of these is done on its own. And then we delete the helper. We destroy the temporary helper we created. If you cargo run and start a game and then save it, you'll find savegame.json file has appeared with your game state in it. Yay. Wow. Yay indeed. All right. So we're going to add to our git ignore the savegame.json. Right? Okay, now it's gone. And then we're going to add this save load system. Git ignore and source. Right? Staged. Oh, let me okay, let's go through this and then I'll format it. So in our components we added a bunch of new spec stuff. We added the Serti stuff and our map crate so that we could add our map thing struct so that we could add it to the serialization helper. We then added convert save load to every component except for the components that are empty, in which case we just added serialize and deserialize. Right? We then have our save game code running the save load system. So when somebody hits escape, we immediately save the game and then go show the main menu. So we only save it once. Right? You don't want to keep saving it while the person's in this menu. Our map then gets a serializer along with the tile type. We added our save load system. Oh, let me clean that up. There it is. Okay. And then in our rect, we serialize the rects. And then here's our new file with the save game function and the serialize individually macro to serialize all of our components that we've marked. And I think that's what's happening here is we just loop over all the marked entries and serialize them. In Spawner, now we mark all of our components as all of our entities as we create them. And in main, we register the things that need to be registered, and we insert a new item in order to help with the serialization. All right, let's see if Clippy's happy. I've got a suspicious feeling that we did a bunch of weird stuff that Oh no, Clippy's happy with that. Okay, good. All right, this is just sorting the stuff. Yep, this did spread the whole thing out. Wonderful. And then more sorts. Okay. Yep. Git commit. We can now save the game to a JSON file in the current directory. Yeah, and this won't work in, and I'll try it in a second here. Let's build this. I don't think this will work here because we can't open files from Wasm. Okay, let me refresh, hit escape. Yeah, it just dumped. Core panicking, begin unwind. Operation not supported on this platform. Save load system line 35, and I think that's probably the file open, right? 35. Yep, you can't do a file create on. I mean, there's probably a way to allow it, but my brain is fried right now. I'm going to push this up to GitHub. Take a quick look to see it's there. There it is. And there this is. Wow. Okay. That was a lot, but we got it working. Tomorrow we're going to look at restoring game state. Hopefully that's going to be a lot easier now that we've got all of our components and use statements and SERDY stuff in place. Oof. Well, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care.